So good afternoon. Today is September 23rd, 2013. This is CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Today is the first day of the second week, day number 3. So let's get started. Well, let me first of all take care of the two girls there. You may just sit together on that table. Yes, please move. Yes, we have 5 tables today. I've checked the roster. We have actually got 2 sections combined, so we no longer have sections number 3. We just have sections number 1. So when the 2 classes combine, I have 23 students. Okay. Originally speaking, I have 13 students on section 1, and I get 14 students on section 3. And some drop, okay? So it's okay. We can enjoy the party much better. So today is day number 3 in the semester. I would like you to pay attention to the white screen because that is the website of our course. When you get to your Moodle environment, you can see that on this website, we have all the 14 weeks material ready, okay? So we've just finished 1 week, that is week number 1. That's good enough. So let's try to see something basic, all right? When you go over this website, the first block, this is the first block, you can see the basic information. The first is the syllabus. Okay, you click on it, you can read the syllabus. We have a theme song, some basic rules of participations, communications, and we do take attendance starting from this week, all right? So we have issued 2 class messages announcement. So if you look at the class announcement sections, you have 2 messages, all right? So last week, that is the first announcement. On the 16th, this week, that is the second teacher's message on the 21st, that means today. Since we just have 1 section, I would like to pay attention that you're always in section 1. So please make sure you read the 2 teachers' message very carefully because the 2 teachers' message help you to focus on the work of the week. So if you look at the teacher's message of today, I invite you to pay attention to reading what we covered last week on particular aspect of the course. Pay attention to the course learning objective. We have how many course learning objectives do we have? Remember? 3, right? And then we do have course intended learning outcomes. How many do we have? Okay, if you do not remember it, make sure you read it. And then we have course calendar. Reading is very important because starting from this week and in the second half hour, I'm going to invite some of you to come to share something. So you got to get yourself prepared, all right? So that's something that you share must be done in less than 5 minutes and based on the readings of last week, all right? So, and then you can earn your individual point at most 5 points each. So I've got some students sign in already, and I'm expecting more to sign in on Thursday. And then we do have submissions, okay? Submissions on work you need to submit. How many pieces of homework you need to submit? Remember? Remember? 3 learning contracts, right? And plus 1 final project, right? So that is the missions and course assessment, we talked about it. Each learning contract will give you at most 10 points, so 3 learning contracts, 30 points. And the last final project is putting things together called the learning portfolio, which course will give you 20 points, right? And then when you do your sharing, reading, you will have 15 points over the semester. And then we have a 1-week term, which is another 15 points. And then we have 1 final, which is 20 points. Now, the question is you need to determine whether or not you want to have final. If you don't have final exam, you need to tell me as a whole class by the end of the first month. And then we have to come up with a scheme to redistribute the 20 points of the finals. So that is the assessment. The learning design, okay, we have 3 learning contracts. And each learning contract focuses on 1 specific method of learning, okay? Right now we're in the first learning contract, so we're in the IBL period, inquiry-based learning. That is exactly the focus of today, IBL, inquiry-based learning. So what is meant by inquiry-based learning? Questions, asking questions, okay? So we're going to give you some very interesting thing about IBL today. And then learn and practice, since we do have a textbook for you to follow, okay? And then the learning practice will be decided based on the textbook material, all right? So where can you get the textbook? Either get it from the bookstore or get it from the library. You photocopy each chapter, okay? So where do you know what is the textbook? You go to the Learning Center syllabus. Over there, the name of the textbook is over there, all right? So, and then in this course, we very much emphasize on online activity. That means we would like you to be always get ready to go to the Moodle environment to get update on the course. And this is part of the Moodle environment's informations. And online activity include 3 specific things. 1, every week, I will give you an electronic notebook. You use the electronic notebook to jot down notes of your learning based on the selected reading, based on the class interpretations of the material. And then the second thing is you need to select one learning partner from this class, okay? And you must tell me who is the learning partner by the end of this week by sending me an email, okay? And CC to your partner. And so with your learning partner, you can study together in the online discussion forum, another very important online learning activity, okay? You need to discuss with your learning partner what you have discovered in the course over the past week, okay? Of course, the third important online learning activity is what we call the collaborative writing, okay? You need to write with your learning partner together, and later on when 2 pairs come together, you need to write together online, electronically, okay? And then the time management for this course. How many hours do I suggest you to spend on this course? Between 4 and 6, okay? Between 4 and 6. And how do you spend the 4 and 6 hours? I recommend you spend 1 hour reading, okay? 1 hour writing your notes. 1 hour discussing with your learning partner, or 9. 1 hour writing a report to be submitted by the end of the learning contract. Of course, 1 hour writing collaboratively with your team member later. But how do you spend that 1 hour? You remember that I suggested last week? Say you divide 1 hour into 10 5-minutes or 12 5-minute slot, right? And so every time you use 5 minutes doing the reading, you keep track of the slot there. And then you also divide your 1 hour writing your notes into 12 5-minutes. So every time you finish reading for 5 minutes, you use 5 minutes writing down your notes. So throughout the week, you have 12 times to do your reading, and then you have 12 times to do your writing, okay? So it's very important that you do something like this. Okay, now, after that, we come to classroom participation. It's very important. Classroom participation means what you need to do in class. And every time you have the second half an hour in class to do your classroom participation. Each class will have 1.5 hours. The first half hour is what I have to talk right now. The second half hour is what you have to share, okay? And the third half hour will be devoted to housekeeping, all right? I will help you to do things online, in class, and something like that. So, and then the classroom management is each class divided into 3 sections. The first half hour is your teacher, I introduced you what you need to do. The second half hour, you have to do your sharing in class with your fellow student. The third half hour, you have to do housekeeping of your work, okay? And then the classroom communication is very important. At any time during the course, whenever you have difficulty, you need to come to talk with me with an appointment so that I know how to help you individually. Okay? So give you a break to read through some of the wordings there so that I will be back in just 1 minute. Okay, it's very interesting that I hope you read the message very clearly. It's a message that the teacher would like you to put some focus on the course. And, oh yes, do you read the 7 points here? Just before the review, I have 7 points here. Understand and utilize subject-specific knowledge to engage with questions, both contemporary and enduring. remember, these 7 points are the overarching learning outcome for the whole GE program. Okay, that means in any GE course that you are going to take, these 7 points are very important. These are our learning outcomes. So whatever you do, whatever I do as a teacher, I need to ensure that I'm designing the learning activity for you to make sure that you accomplish something like this. All right? So you need to study that very carefully. Hi, so good to see you back here. So yes, great. So may I invite one person from that table to come here, at least? It's one person, because you have 5 persons there, right? One person to come here to join this. Let's see. So we have 3 persons on this table. Thank you very much. We do not want people to sit in a table with fewer than 3 persons. And I'm so glad that I have enough number of students here. So let me get started with today's work. So remember, this is week number 1. You went through last week. Day number 1, we got through the calendar, reading, submission, assessment, learning design, learning practice, online activity, time management, classroom participation, classroom management, classroom communication. And all the class video of last week, you can watch it right here. They are on YouTube, okay? So what you see today will also be available tomorrow on YouTube. So if you are late or you're not here last week, you can actually go to see the YouTube video of last week's working in class. This is my last week's YouTube video. You can watch it, okay? And this is for section 1 last week, okay? You can also watch the section 3 video last week. I brought it into 2 parts, section 3. This week I have 2 sections combined together. Okay, so that is section 3. It takes a while, maybe. Yeah, let me just click it on. Alright. That is the first class, the section number 3. Okay, so you can always go back to the class website and watch what we went through at the end of each day's class. So today, after today's class, we will also be able to see the class video on YouTube. And last week on day number 2, we explored something on active learning. That's the reason why I have to get you involved in tables. Now, I have put more resources on this day number 2 than what we actually have covered last week, but it's your responsibility, remember, to make sure you study them all. I invite you to watch the movie In the Realm of the Hackers at the end of last week. So maybe you have watched the movie, okay, or you haven't, all right, but it's okay. But last week, we covered the Computer Security 101 based on the Department of Justice in the United States message. And we covered the idea of sensitive information. In the context of sensitive information, there are 3 important concepts. C for confidentiality. You need to keep your information confidential. No one is going to read it. Second is I, integrity. You have to make sure that the information that is kept confidential must not be changed by anybody. It's integral. Third is A, is the availability concept. That is, whenever I need to use the information supplied, I can get access to it. So the CIA concept, which is applied for information sensitivity. All right? And then the second thing we introduced in the Computer Security 101 is the risk management. Now I know I have a challenge to make sure my information is confidential, is integral, it must be available. So what kind of risk can I anticipate that is going to happen to my information in case I lost my information? Someone stole my information. Okay? Make it not available to me, change it, and I cannot get access to it anymore. So risk management is what kind of measures do you have in mind in case you encounter a situation of this kind. Okay? And the third important idea on Computer Security 101 is your personal accountability. How do you hold yourself or someone working with you responsible for the confidentiality, for the integrity, and for the availability of the information that is considered as sensitive. So that is the idea. And then last week we bring you awareness, stay tuned, and we introduced the idea of social engineering. What is meant by social engineering? Can you get it from the Faculty of Science and Technology, or can you get it from social science? No. Social engineering is the art of deception, particularly over phone conversations, to cheat people so that we can steal information from them. That is the easiest way by the hackers, because humans are the weakest link. And so I invite you to watch the film In the Whim of the Hackers last week to get some more understanding of the first day of class, which is actually day number 2. What are the themes of this day? That is the day when you have to read the reading first, if you want to know the theme of the particular week. First of all, you look at the heading. Day 1 and day 2, the theme is introduction. What is information security? What is information privacy? So that is the theme of last week. Now, where can you get more information about this theme? That's the reasons why you need to go to the readings of week number 1. When you click readings of week number 1, you will be brought to a page which is a supplementary page, which will give you a bunch of resources on the week's theme. For example, what is information security? What is information privacy? And your job when you do classroom participation is that you need to select. You need to select one item from each of these 2 sections. So if I select this, what is information security? That is the item you need to study, and you need to join down the notes to discover on this item in your online journals. And in a minute I'm going to tell you where it is. And if you have to pick another topic from this too, and if that is the particular topic you've chosen, you also need to join down notes here. So that is a weekly reading list. You are not supposed to read them all, okay? You need to select one item from each time and study it for at least 1 hour, okay? So, where is your online learning journal? The online learning journal is right here, down the block. Say, on week number 1, you see we have some tools to track your learning. So down here you see there is something called Private Online Learning Journal. That is for week number 1. That is your electronic notebook, okay? So what you need to do is you go to the electronic notebook, you click this name, you will be brought to a text message. So you can see in this text message, when you click on this text message box, you will be presented with a text box in which you can type in your notes. Now let me just go back to my teacher's role so that I can show you some of the notes of your fellow students, okay? So let me return to my roles here as a teacher. And then I can show you the online learning journal. I got 10 journals, that means 10 students in this class have done the journals. So when I click into this, I can see that Bertha have done something, write something, and then the other student did something. Okay, and then I did put down my feedback already. So that is how I could look at your journals, okay, each one of you on each week. So a lot of you have done a very good job in your journal. Remember, that is the basis for me to give you a score on your 15% reading and collaborative activity. And when you do your sharing in class, okay, less than 5 minutes, you earn bonus score, all right? So you earn extra bonus score. So why not just make sure you sign up? So every week, we are expecting students to sign up to do the sharing. In each class, you will have a sign up. For example, last week, right here, I issued a message on sign up for this week. So I got 11 replies, and I have a lot of students. What you need to do to register your sign up slot is to reply on this. And say, oh, sir, I want to do a sharing on day number 3 or day number 4, and then I will reserve a slot for you. Now, we all together each week, we have 12 students who can do the sharing. 6 on the first day, 6 on the second day, okay? So to sign up for your sharing slot, you just have to press the reply button here, and then type in something, I want to do a sharing, then you will be counted, okay? So make sure you do a sharing. So, wow. I'm down to the last 5 minutes before I give you the sharing. So, let me go to week number 2. So this is week number 2, alright? So when you come to the week number 2 block in the Moodle environment, this is day number 3. And day number 4, what is the theme? The theme is the common module. And we're going to talk about Introduction to IT and Knowledge Society this week. Okay? And on day number 3 today, we're going to specifically introduce to you the idea of IBL, Inquiry-Based Learning. Now, you're responsible to finish reading all of these. Most of these are YouTube videos, okay? And then you need to ask these questions. What are some of the material I can use to do some more study on introductions to IT and knowledge societies? You need to come to the reading for week number 2. So that is the reading for week number 2. Alright? So every week we have a theme. Alright? So you come to what is information technology, what is knowledge society. So you select again one topic from each of these 2 chunks and you study it. You spend 1 hour doing it, jotting down the notes again. And then next week, you're ready to do the sharing. Okay? It's not difficult. This is one way how I'm going to engage you in your study. It's not so much as I dictate your study. Remember the first day of class I told you. It's you who's going to tell me in the whole class what you have studied, what you have discovered in this course, week after week. And you come to the classroom, sharing with your fellow students what you have discovered. Individually, in not more than 5 minutes, later on in pairs, and then in teams, alright? So remember, we have a lot of resources, all the 14 weeks resources are over there. So before I pass the time to you, okay? Before I pass the time to you, as I have already said here, I want you to be aware of inquiry-based learning, so I want you to have some big ideas on inquiry-based learning. Alright? So let's get started with a big idea. Let me just borrow some time with you, alright? So let's take a look at it. Wait, before I show you anything, remember the procedures. You need to get set. Okay? Get set, and then I need to give you paper. As many papers, they are cheaper, alright? So I got a helper now. You can help me to distribute some A4 white paper to each table. So you grab the piece of paper, you get set, you take notes when you watch the video, okay? At the end of the watching, your first mission is to come up with questions, okay? This is one way to engage you in active learning. So get yourself ready, papers ready, pens. Do you have pens? Do you have any pens? Alright? So you watch the screen, okay? You watch the screen. You get set, or this screen is okay. Alright? Remember, the theme here is IBL. I want you to be able to discover for yourself, okay, what we are going to get involved. Inquiry-based learning. Get set? Ready? We are going to go. The big ideas of inquiry-based learning. This is 1.44 minutes. Let's see, something wrong with the sound system here. Wait a minute. Someone must have unpacked the wire.
For me, inquiry-based learning, there isn't one answer. So I would have to say that it's a real variety of things. It can be working alone, independently, going away and researching something for yourself, and really making the topic your own, making the information your own, and then creating your own knowledge base. Or it can equally be network learning, so a combination of working with different people within staff, but also with sort of peers and other students. And again,
I got some problems here. Let me just make sure that I restart. Yep, okay, this time let's come over again.
So, Jamie, can you give us a definition of IBL?
Well,
So, Jamie, can you give us a definition of IBL?
Definitions of IBL.
I think it's quite difficult to define IBL. It means different things to different pieces of learning depending on whether you remember the subject you're student or what kind of. I think it's kind of general terms, it's the subject you're doing. I think kind of general ideas in central learning. So putting student investigations and ideas to central research is student investigations and getting students to do research.
Here we go. Let's get started.
So, Jamie, can you give us a definition of IBL?
Well, I think it's quite difficult to define IBL. I think it means a lot of different things to different people, depending on whether you're a member of staff or a student or what kind of discipline or subject you're doing. But I think in kind of general terms, it's about putting questions and ideas at the centre of learning, so student investigations and getting students to do research instead of kind of finding out the answer for themselves, instead of directing them and telling the answer and expecting them to remember it. I think people learn and remember things and are able to reuse them much more effectively if they've found them out for themselves than if they've just been told it and expected to remember it.
Hi Laura, can you give us a definition of IBL, please? For me, inquiry-based learning, there isn't one answer. So I would have to say that it's a real variety of things. It can be working alone, independently, going away and researching something for yourself, and really making the topic your own, making the information your own, and then creating your own knowledge base. Or it can equally be network learning, so a combination of working with different people within staff, but also with other sort of peers, other students. And again, sort of researching through sort of discussion and then evaluating the information that you've got and turning that again into a new knowledge base through your inquiry.
So the question is, you heard some students will on what IBL is all about. What do you think? Now, you heard the video, which is just 1 minute and 44 seconds. I would like you to engage yourself in your table to discuss your versions of IBL in not more than 5 minutes, okay? So you have 5 minutes time from now to 4:40. Okay, actually not 4:30, 4:38, all right? So get set and make sure you come up with definitions of what IBL is in your table, all right? Inquiry-based learning. It's time for you to talk. Just don't be shy. This is a classroom full of students' voice. IBL. While you're hearing your fellow students on the table to share with you his or her idea of IBL, you need to come up with some notes on your piece of paper. Key points, all right? So you have less than 4 or 5 minutes time to do that. What is IBL? Yes, discuss about the ideas you gather from this very short video. 1 minute 44 seconds. You have 3 minutes left. Get some ideas. Let me just eavesdrop on some of your ideas. Wow. Well, information is on a piece of paper already. That's very good. Wow, good. Okay, IBL. You have any ideas? IBL? What IBL is all about? You come up with some idea? You heard? The video saying something. Now is your time to come up with your versions of what is meant by IBL. Yeah, IBL. Now remember, you will keep adding information into this, alright? It's exciting to see you on work. This is an active learning classroom, so you don't just listen. You need to process the information. Great, oh, you got something now. Now come up with the ideas in a list of forms, and then you can use it to report on your ideas in IBO when we come to the sharing sections, alright? IBO. Inquiry-based learning. Very good, you're engaged in discussions already. Remember, we are talking about inquiry-based learning today, and you just see the video, 1 minute 44 seconds on interpretation of IBO by one student, one teacher, alright? So we're going to continue for these sections for another 2 minutes, and then we're going to get to the ball, alright? Inquiry-based learning. Inquiry-based learning. What have you discovered about inquiry-based learning after watching that some video? And what discussions can you proceed to get more information about IBL? Since we do not know one another well, so when you stand up to talk in a minute, make sure you tell us your name, alright? Not yet. You will do that, but not as soon as in 2 minutes. Now, I hope you got some ideas of what your table means by IBO at this point. Let me give you some more information. Get set? Get some more information now. Watch the screen. The following information on inquiry-based learning is from the Appalachian State University. Okay? Watch it.
Inquiry-based learning. Inquiry-based learning.
Is that bad that I don't know that?
Watch and discover.
Inquiry means to ask within. So what you're trying to do as a teacher is you've got to ask them to look inside themselves for the question, the desire to know something. You start with the desire to know.
Inquiry-based learning is about training students to act just like scholars. We, scholars, frame questions and we answer them. That's just what we're training students to do when they're in an inquiry-based learning environment. In an inquiry-based learning environment, they're acting just like scholars.
It wasn't simply a lecture. They were having to be active in coming up with their own ideas and interpretations. Even if they were wrong, you know, they had to be active in thinking about it rather than just be passive receptors of information.
There's a common misperception about inquiry-based learning, and that somehow inquiry-based learning doesn't involve lecturing. It does. In an inquiry-based learning environment, professors provide content. What's different is that students do something with the content that is very immediate to them. They'll go and apply those concepts and that content to questions that they've designed.
And that's the goal, to liberate the student into being the primary question asker in learning.
Very good hints. Now, gather your information, because you need to produce your versions of inquiry-based learning.
The idea is to turn students into question askers again.
a lot of times we undermine what children know or what students like us know by not asking them questions, by not asking them to go out in the community, do research. We almost cripple them.
It's more engaging than regular textbook learning. When you actually care about what you're learning, then you remember it in the long term.
Instead, inquiry-based learning enables students to be part of knowledge.
If they don't get a chance to practice asking questions, then how are they ever going to get free? They're going to think they need a classroom or a teacher or a structure their whole lives.
It's important that they understand the knowledge that's in that textbook, but I think it's also important that Appalachian students have an understanding as to how is new knowledge and how are new discoveries made? How did that knowledge get into the textbook to begin with? Maybe even it spurs them on to think about, you know what, maybe I could discover something, or maybe I could do a study or create this piece of work that nobody else has done yet.
Don't ask a question you know the answer to. Ask genuine questions and try to pursue an investigation of them with students.
If you want to get teachers to want to do this, they themselves have to be willing to do inquiry. They have to be the inquiry experts. They have to just wonder about everything.
It's much safer for a teacher just to get up in front like an expert, spout a lot of facts, and impress people with how smart they are. It's much harder to reveal your own ignorance in front of a group of people when you're supposed to be the expert.
Then I have to model ignorance and confusion. I can't just model knowing. I have to model exploring.
Imagine accurately what students are interested in so you can make suggestions so you can kind of get them to think in a curious way. And yet still fulfill the requirements of the class.
Because it's just much more straightforward for all of us if I just tell you. And if that's all I do, it's deadly.
I may do quite a bit of talking in any one class. In another class, they may be working on their own in small groups.
You got to have the common universe that everybody's working in, so everybody's taking the same class. But then students have to somehow individualize it or instantiate it in reasonably unique ways.
Definitely leave frustrated because the more you know, the more confused you are.
Like, accept that I'm learning in a different way now.
Students also resist. A lot of students do want to be told. They like to come in and say they're visual learners. I now know what this means. It means put a PowerPoint on the slide and let me copy stuff down.
Students usually come into my class at first, on the first day, thinking that knowledge is all about me, the professor, pouring some knowledge into their heads, and later they, the students, will take an exam and prove to me that they've memorized it.
It's really easy for me to hear something, see an example, and retain that, and then be tested over it.
Just set traps for students, and kind of trap students, so you don't get wary. You're always looking for the teacher trap. People won't engage.
In an inquiry-based learning environment, the setup is completely different. It's about the students acting like scholars. It's about students creating knowledge. It's about empowering students so that they believe, no, not that they believe, that they understand that they can do what scholars do. They don't just have to absorb the opinions of other people.
It's just a lot more open-ended. It's just more fun in general, actually.
I really like the fact that it was more of a conversation instead of being talked at.
It's frustrating at times when you have other teachers that are still trying to do the, old school sense of education, that they're trying to just be like, A, B, and C are on the test, and this is what you need to know, and then you understand the subject. And I've found myself more questioning.
Early benefits. If you do it at the end of the semester, you'll discover you have to pass it if you didn't know you had it.
I would definitely say I've learned more in this class with inquiry-based learning because
I'm forced to hold my knowledge like as my own and use it every day as opposed to just like the hour that I'm in my class. And I take it everywhere with me.
You need a well-rounded education to be, to integrate into society, but at the same time, you can't just memorize what the teacher tells you and be done with it, because then you'll never integrate into society.
All of our knowledge is grounded in a desire, a deep desire to be in community with other people. That why do we develop knowledge anyway? I mean, like I'm just talking about like over 10,000 years or something. Like, why does anybody care about anything? We care about it because we want to be in the world successfully with the people we love.
It applies to so much of my life. It's not just about academia, it's life.
So we just heard students said something about inquiry-based learning, and teachers telling you something about the secrets behind inquiry-based learning. It's your time now. You have another 5 minutes time to put together the ideas you get from this video and come up with your tables versions of inquiry-based learning, and you can project into what it's going to do to your study in this course. So go ahead. Now talk about it in your tables with the information you get from this video. Alright? So inquiry-based learning in your table. And then I'm going to divide individual tables to help you do a sharing on that. Okay, it's your time to digest information. Process your versions of inquiry-based learning. 5 more minutes with your table. I'm going to pass the microphone out there. So it's going to be exciting for my students. Today is the first class on inquiry-based learning. I've used several videos to take some discussions on each table. Afterwards, I'm going to invite the individual table to share with us their perceptions of what inquiry-based learning is all about. Stay tuned.
Research.
I've heard a lot of exciting conversations already. Put it in long forms in your piece of paper so that when your table is invited to share, and you got someone to stand up to share, okay, with information. Exciting. When I invite you to stand up to share in your table, you have to close 2 minutes per table, okay? At most 2 minutes per table. And when all the 5 tables are finished, actually we have 6 tables finished sharing, it's about 12 to 15 minutes already, I'm sure. Okay? 2 minutes left, 2 minutes left to your discussion. Go ahead, put down your notes, okay? In about 2 minutes time, I'm going to invite the individual table to stand up and share. 2 minutes for each table. Inquiry-based learning. What do you think? Okay, that is the topic. Inquiry-based learning. What do you think? I have selected the first table to share. I have selected the first table to share, and they're going to show that for 2 minutes. At the end of the sharing, the table is going to decide which other table is going to share. So let's get started. Okay, may I invite this table to help sharing. Your reporter comes up, stand up, and then introduce yourself, please.
Okay. My name is Samuel, and I come from the.
Okay, just yes, because of the
And the group 1.
It's good. It's good. Yes, it's good. Yeah, that is alright.
And I just want to share the information about what I discussed from the video. And first of all, the student say that they just want to ask a question with not start with the decision what they really want to know, and from the question they can be active and to do the search and help them to remember and really know the questions.
Remember, what is inquiry-based learning?
Okay, then. It helped them to find the answer, that how to get the knowledge and how to find the question answers. And the student can in the group and they can make a suggestion, and I hope they are as different as not just copy the PowerPoint from the class, from the lessons, and it is easy to see the example and find the answer, and finally to remember the subject.
Okay, so can you just use your wits to tell us the difference between inquiry-based learning and the traditional approach of learning? Any idea? Traditional. What difference inquiry-based learning from the traditional lecture-based approach? Okay.
And they need to find the answer by themselves, and you can make suggestions and not just to listen the teacher to talk with you. And you can ask a question and to know the question, to find the question's answer, to active to be the search. That's all.
Thank you very much. Could you pass the microphone to one table of your choice? Of your choice? It's okay. Equal opportunity to every table. Thank you. So help us to understand your versions of inquiry-based learning. Turn it on first, the microphone.
Hi, my name is Anna. My major is communication.
Thank you, Anna.
And from the video, I found out that inquiry-based learning is actually it's a way for you to learn things by yourself through discussions.
Okay.
If you don't need the professor to tell you things, you actually learn by yourself. So that you don't need to memorize, you don't need to.
But you still have something to start with, right? You start with some questions, isn't it?
The teacher will, the professor, he or she will give you a content, and then he or she will ask you to discuss among the group. so that you will learn by yourself. You don't need to read a book or PowerPoint because you can, if you discuss with your colleagues, you can discover it by yourself. Some of the students say that inquiry-based learning is frustrating because the more you know, the more you're confused. But the good thing is that inquiry-based learning is fun because you can have more conversations, you can find out more things rather than reading the textbooks.
That's excellent because you discover that inquiry-based learning is some kind of interaction between the students and the material. The students looking up, and the more interaction between the students and the material, the less they discover they know it, the more confused they are. But in the process of doing that, they work out something on their own. Yeah. All right, thank you. Could you pass the microphone to one table of your choice? Thank you. So help us to understand your table's understanding of inquiry-based learning based on watching the two videos and your own. Yes, yes, come on. Don't be shy. Thank you. Help us to know you. Introduce yourself. Yes. Yes, look at the camera.
Yeah. The IBM means that you have a question and you want to get the answer, but the answer is even from your teacher. You must do some research or communicate with others and okay. It means you must get some information by yourself.
Okay.
And everyone should be active and to
discover.
Yeah.
Okay. So getting information through an active engagement of ourselves, it's basically what we call research. Research. So research is the foundations of inquiry-based learning. That means to discover more, yes, with your questions at hand, right? So anything you can add into your sharing? Anything more?
In IBM, the communication is very important.
Yes.
You can communicate with your teacher and your classmates.
Yes.
And what's more, you should use many
resources.
Yeah. From the media.
Yes.
Okay. So.
Thank you. You did a very good job. So basically, outline what inquiry-based learning is basically a research process. You need to interact with many different people, teachers, students. You also need to look up information from different sources, right? And you need to work out the answers on your own because you are the person who knows the question best, right? Thank you very much. Could you pass the microphone to one table? All right, thank you. Please help us to understand more about your versions of inquiry-based learning.
Hello, my name is Amy.
Yes.
I come from the mainland.
Thank you.
My English is poor.
It's okay. We encourage you to speak more.
Okay. I found some quite in the video about IBL.
Yes.
I think it's very useful for studying.
Okay.
Because it makes people start with learning desire.
Yes.
And it can transfer students into askers. Then students can ask more questions themselves and without teachers asking.
Sure. So questioning is a very important process of learning too. Yes.
And it can fulfill the requirements of the lesson.
Okay, you can accomplish the learning goals, yes.
Because it can put their individual ideas together.
Okay.
So the main problem.
Okay, so you can put people together to solve the problems together. So through team methods, right? Yeah.
And it makes some effects on the oral of the traditional learning.
Okay, improves on the traditional learning methods, yes.
Because it doesn't based on the exam or
Yes.
textbooks.
Yes. So learning does not come directly from the textbook, and evaluations of learning does not only rely on the exam, right? Yes, yes.
The most useful thing is it can force students to use knowledge every time, everywhere.
That's excellent, because you can force students to use the knowledge every time they need it. That's the original knowledge, not anybody's second-hand knowledge, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That's all.
Thank you very much for your sharing. I think it's very good, excellent, because we can encourage more. So will you please pass the microphone to one table of your choice? Okay, that's good. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, anybody? Thank you. Introduce us to who you are.
I want to share some results of our discussion
Yes.
about IBL
Thank you.
from two aspects.
Okay.
And the first one is some important points about IBL.
Good.
I guess IBL.
It's okay. It's okay. Just take it easy.
And IBL is about number one, ask questions.
Good.
It's maybe something you desire of knowledge.
Thank you.
And number two is that do research.
Yes.
It is more related to investigation.
Oh, great.
And number three is discussion.
Oh, great.
And number four is cooperation.
Wow.
I guess it is specifically is doing work with different people and stuff.
Yes.
And the second aspect is IBL, the advantage of IBL, and for students, I guess we can hold knowledge by ourselves and use it every day. And number two, I think IBL can make us understand that we can do what professors do.
Great. This is very good.
And number three, I guess IBL gives us more freedom to learn and study.
Great.
And for professors, IBL can make professors know about students' interests and give them more suggestions.
Very true.
Like unique suggestions, not in common.
Yes.
And also provide content. The way of IBL for professors to communicate with students is that provide content and give them learning an inquiry-based learning environment.
Okay.
Not only lecture. That's the result of the group.
That's very good. You heard that? It's very interesting. They talk about question. They talk about research. They talk about discussion. They talk about collaborations. And then they talk about the freedom to choose the topic and the communications between professors and students. Wow, that is wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you. Could you pass the microphone to the last table? Thank you very much. So the last table, please. Help us to understand your table's versions of IBO. Help us to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Sophia, and for me, I think it's kind of the investigation and keep on asking, solving the problem, and just solve the problem by asking and make the student to have more information, and by asking and professor answering them, and they can gain more information. And this is good because we can keep active, and even we are wrong, but still we have the try. And because we will learn from our mistakes and we will not wrong again. And this is also a fault from a small group of people. They just doing their own things and not listen what the professor said, and they just daydreaming or whatever. But there's something because one of the students mentioned you will be if you know more you will confuse more because it's kind of stressful, and then students will think that it's very useful because you will use it every day, and you can manage by yourself and afterwards for your future career.
Thank you. Actually, I very much appreciate you pointing out several important points here. Yes, the more we seem to know, the more confused we look. And the only way out is to make sure we create some kind of framework to store our new knowledge, learning that comes every day in our life. So IBL is nonetheless one of the very important process for us to manage our learning. The learning experience, the knowledge we gather. And so I think you did a very good job in this 5 minutes, and we used exactly 15 minutes to do that. So let's get back to our course website. If you look at day number 3, okay, I have given you the big idea of IBL. I have given you university stories of IBL, which is the ASUs, Appalachian State Universities. So what I would like to give you a little bit more is the idea of learn to learn for IBL, all right? So let's take a look at the learn to learn concept. This is about 6 minutes.
I grew up here at Hartville. I moved here in 3rd grade. I graduated here. We are kind of your traditional small town. We've got our square with the courthouse on it. We've got old buildings that have been around since the Civil War era. When I first came in the classroom, I was one of those traditional teachers. I would stand in front of the class. I would give the notes. Nothing really ever worked great. And then once the EMINS was brought in and I went through that training, learning how to help the students work in groups, learning how to guide them. It was amazing to see the student who was always resistant to education. Gradually and slowly over the school year, they start getting involved with the group and never been involved before. Start making friends that had never made friends before. You can see it in the students' eyes, that big aha moment. When the light bulb goes off, and you can tell they finally got it.
Well, today we're working with catching up on some websites that you may or may not be familiar with.
The biggest thing we do is help teachers learn
learning how to be learners again.
Just a second ago, you guys were talking about what your favorite part of working in a technology classroom was. And so now I want you to think again. If you could create a word or a phrase or a picture to describe what you just talked about, what would that be?
One of the things I do is I deliver the professional development for the district teachers. I try to make the trainings to be active and meaningful.
Yeah, you've got to learn and then lifetime, because it's a lifetime skill that we're teaching them.
A lot of times teachers don't get that opportunity to just be an instructional designer with other teachers.
Enhanced interaction. I like it.
In a typical school day, they may work with children all day, and then when the bell rings and the students go on the bus, they may have to work by themselves or they go home. And when you come to an image training, you're working with your peers.
They go out and they collect all this data and they compile all these graphs and they put it all together in the PowerPoint, and they have to stand up and teach the rest of the class. They have a better understanding of those concepts of the scientific method, and how important your hypothesis is, and how you have to follow that all the way through.
Here's what we will do next with that word, phrase, or picture is we have a graffiti wall. And we're going to ask that you come up, select a pen, and either write your word, write your phrase, or draw your picture on the graffiti wall.
Doug Caldwell, he stands up there and he models what us as teachers should be doing in the classroom. After the explore time, he brings us all back and had us do a graffiti wall, sharing what we learned and talking about as a group. Here's what I looked at, what am I going to do with it? So that helps me to know that in my classroom it's important to get them back in that group and say, okay, here's what I've done, so other students can kind of like, oh, I did that.
It's a 2-year program. The person who's doing their professional development sections, facilitating those, comes into their classroom on at least a monthly basis. So they're very tightly woven with EMITs, with their facilitator, with the materials, and with their colleagues in this learning community over a period of 2 years. And that's when the changes are going to take place.
Every animal has to have its adaptation to its environment.
Why do you think that understanding all that stuff you just mentioned is important?
Well, what I want you to do now is I need you to come up with either a picture or a word that represents what you just talked about.
What has helped me is I choose one thing, maybe one lesson I really want to work on, and I work on it and I get it done and I use it with the students, and then I'll move on to another lesson.
We're bringing technology to the room. Instead of throwing a teacher in that room and saying, enjoy all your new tools, we try to talk about during the trainings, how we'll use the tools, how would students use them, what is the role of the teacher, what is the role of technology. That's like your entry point for use the graffiti wall.
Yes, that was a really neat thing last night. I really liked using it, so I really enjoyed it. It helped us focus our attention on our units, so I think it's a great idea to use it more. I have discovered that if students are digging and finding it for themselves, they will learn it much better. So it has really changed my view of education.
A teacher met me in the teacher's lounge and she was crying. She said that was the most powerful thing I've ever done. I really took a chance. I wasn't sure that my students would respond, but I followed through and the students generated some terrific questions. And there are things that I wouldn't have thought of as an adult. And it was really meaningful to the students because they were trying to solve problems that meant something to them.
That's very good. Now you watch the last film on inquiry-based learning. I'm going to give you a very simple task. Okay, all the table except one has a blue piece of paper, and your table has a large piece of paper. Now what you have to do before we go is to use 5 minutes, at most 10 minutes, to come up with one sentence on IBL. That is your table sentence on IBL. IBL is about, IDL is what, whatever it is. Okay, come up with a sentence. And write it in the blue piece of paper, except for your table, you need to write on a large piece of paper. Okay? Okay? So come up with one sentence on IBL based on your learning today. Okay? 5 minutes. At most 10 minutes. One sentence with ideas, okay? One sentence. Yes, why on that piece of blue paper? The sentence must be written on that piece of blue paper or the last table on that piece of A3 paper. One sentence. Okay, it doesn't have to be long, but it could be very rich sentence. Okay, you think about it. It's a very important exercise. One simple sentence. In the meantime, I'm going to take attendance, okay? So, back to Albert, are you here? Thank you very much. Anna is here, thank you. Horace, Anton, are you here? Chen, Anton. Horace, no. Lexi, are you here? Lexi, are you here? No, not here. Okay. John, Long, are you here? Long, John, thank you. Chen, Yu, Chen, Yu, are you here? Not here. Catherine, are you here? Thank you. Claudia, Sylvia, thank you. And then Fancy, Fan, Wen Bian, are you here? Wen Bian, you're not here yet? Ian, thank you. Lam, Kim, hey, are you fancy? Are you fancy here? Are you fancy? No, okay. Yes, that's okay. Charlie, thank you. Lei, Lam, thank you. Lena, thank you. And Vivi, are you here? Hey, not here. Patty, are you here? Thank you. Hui Yin Kai, thank you. And then Xi Ling, thank you. Ho Chung Ho, thank you. Wang Li, thank you. And then Xu Shang, you need to teach me how to pronounce your name. Shang Zi, right? Magnolia, thank you. And Zhang Wei Yu, thank you. And then I guess it's very much. Okay, Fancy, thank you, Fancy. Nancy, okay. Nancy, okay, good. Horace, again, Horace, again. Betha, okay, thank you. And then, let's see, Vivi, Gahe, are you here? Not here today. And then, let's see, Horace, not here today. Yes, okay, anyway. So you see, I will stop the student sharing. Okay, sorry, I'm doing it. Sorry. So, Horace? No. Evie? No. Which one? Know your name yet? Okay, you have to go to the FSD department to make sure your name is there. If your name is not there, you must go there and make sure your name is here. Because I got the information automatically through the system. Alright? So make sure you do that. So we stop the student sharing on the first day, all right? So, have you finished the sentence yet? Okay, I'll give you 5 more minutes. Yeah. You can discuss, no problem. Have a time to discuss. Yes. Very good. I see you're going through a very interesting discussions to come up with that statement of inquiry-based learning that belongs to your table. And it's very interesting today that I introduced them the idea of inquiry-based learning. I asked them my student to come up with the versions of inquiry-based learning according to their personal definitions per table. And we're going to start the students sharing on the coming first day. So it's one class today. It's almost done. And 10 more minutes, the class is over. Okay. So if you have done your statement, yes, I think it's a good idea. Yes, put down your name on that piece of paper. That with the statement of inquiry-based learning, the name of the students in your table. Yes. All right. That's very good because I'm going to pick it up today. Besides writing the statement on inquiry-based learning on that piece of blue paper or your last piece of paper, also put down the name of individual students on your table. All right. I'm going to pick this up with you. When you're finished, you can hand this to me to write down your name and student ID on that piece of blue paper. Okay? Yes. It's okay, you just go to the FSD office and make sure your name is there. Alright? So I hope you enjoyed today's class. I have tried to get across to you the idea of inquiry-based learning. Alright? So on day number 4, day number 4, that means on the first day, we are going to talk about the specific on IT and knowledge society. Alright? So you can get a preview on specific topics that we're going to talk about right here and get yourself ready. Okay? And I hope many more students will sign up for these first days. Time's not. You can check it by going to the public discussion forums on week number 1. We can accommodate 6 students, okay, on that section, all right? So it's very important. I think we'll just help you with 6. So, you can sign up, yes. Sign up, right? Okay, when you finish, you're free to go, but make sure on that piece of blue paper, beside the statement of inquiry-based learning, put down the names and student ID of your table's students, fellow students, okay? Very good. I hope you enjoyed today's class. And get yourself involved on first day's student sharing slot. You have 30 minutes. I could accommodate 6 students, and so far I think I got 3. Very much. Yes, very good. I got 4 now. So 2 more could be accommodated on first day's sharing. I hope this knowledge will be filled up very easily. Make sure you drop me a response if you want to share. Okay? Already? Oh, you check. If you have written it, you can check it. If not, just write another one. Okay? Make sure you grab the slot. First come, first serve, alright? Only 6 slots. Have you done it? If you have done it, you can give me a piece of blue paper and you can go. Okay, grab the biscuit with you. Thank you. Grab the biscuit with you. This is your snack. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. I hope you enjoyed today's class. Oh yes, finish the first day of class survey, okay, on week number 1. I know many of you have done it in a section number 3, but since it's combined again, so you please do it again on the first day of class survey. Okay? The first day of class survey here, and I need your help to fill this up. Okay? Under week number 1. Right here in week number 1, you see we do have a survey on the first day of class. Okay, the last item here. Please make sure you fill this out. survey on first day of class, okay? Towards the end of this week, I will provide you another survey on your learning experience of this week, so we can incrementally improve on that, all right? Thank you very much. Make sure you finish the survey on first day of class, okay? Have you done that? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Nice to have you today. Okay, enjoy the biscuit. All right. Okay. So that's it for today's class, September 23rd, 2013, CISG 113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Stay tuned to this first page.